Oldies 98.9, Sounds of the Season. Gotta love that from Diana Ross and the Supremes. White Christmas, right here for you. Happy holidays to each and every one of you. I'm Bobo. It's great to be here with you on this Hump Day Wednesday, the 13th day of December already, and counting the days down. So glad to have this gentleman here, and he is a gentleman in every sense of the word. Richard Shapiro. He is an attorney of elder law. Richard, good morning and happy holidays to you.
Good morning, Bob. Back at you.
Boy, what was that? I heard a crash.
No, just put something down.
All right. So, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you get stuffed?
Thanksgiving was very nice because always nice when you don't have to travel. So that took that worry out of things. We had my kids were in, and we had good family friends over, and my daughter had a college friend with her, so it worked out very nicely.
Very, very nice, Richard. So you're an attorney of elder law. So let's get into the mix here. And, you know, a lot of people, and I've said this many times on the air when I speak to you, sit back in a recliner and think that everything's taken care of. But there are some things that can go bump in the night. And as an example, let me throw this question at you. So, okay, a family has a business, okay? And only one of the kids are involved in the business and the other ones are not. How do you work something like that out when there's a house involved and other things?
Yeah, that's a really important question and something that comes up a lot. We have, really in the Hudson Valley, we have many small business owners and medium-sized business owners that, you know, can have significant value. And oftentimes, as you indicated, you see the situation where, you know, they have 3 or 4 kids and only one of the children is directly involved in the business. And that presents a thorny problem because a lot of times the business is the most significant asset that the family has. And if you just said, okay, because Johnny works in the business, we're just going to leave that to him, then he's getting significant economic value above and beyond what the remaining siblings are going to receive. Now, people may say, well, you know, he's done the work and whatever, but of course he presumably has gotten a salary and other perks for working there as any employee would, and it can certainly shortchange, or at least the other children may feel shortchanged if they don't get equal value. So there's several ways you can approach it. You can require Johnny to purchase the other siblings' interest in the business, or at least the value that would have passed them if it was an equal split after the parent's death. Often that can be done via a promissory note. So it's just simple math. Business is worth $1 million. There are 4 kids. Johnny's share would be $250,000. You put in the trust or will that after both mom and dad die, he would, he'd get his 1/4 share, and then he would buy out the siblings' other interest. There would be a requirement to have the business appraised by a business valuation professional to determine the value, and then he would presumably there would be a promissory note that allows him to purchase the other children's interest, and that would take care of it. They'd get their share of value. He'd get the entire business in control, and hopefully everyone meanders along quite happily. But there are a few other twists that sometimes occur in that. Let's say mom and dad live a good long life, and they're 90 years old, and Johnny's already 62 when mom and dad have passed. And he says, I'm ready to retire. I don't want to buy this interest. And if the will says, requires that he buy it, he's sort of stuck. And he said, I don't want to buy it. So usually what I include in my documents is give that child the option to acquire the business interest, not the requirement. He may say to his 3 siblings, hey, kids, sis and brothers, I'm done with all this. Let's just sell the business and we'll split the cash. Solves that problem, too. So, these are just two of the sort of most common scenarios that arise. But unless you actually explicitly provide the mechanism for making all this happen, you're leaving it up to the kids, and they're, any one of them can throw a fly in the ointment by saying, no, I don't want to do it that way. But if you have instructions and requirements, it solves that problem.
What if, here's a what if question, okay?
Sure.
So let's just say mom and dad, they take care of all of that, and Johnny is basically going to inherit the business and give his other two siblings the monies that they that they are going to get.
Right.
What if all of a sudden now mom and dad aren't around, and here's this last will and testament where he's going to take over the business, but then in midstream he changes direction and decides that he doesn't want to do that. Then what happened?
Well, that sort of follows along what I just said. He can say, I don't want to take the business. Let's just put it up for sale and sell it to a third party. Then there's just cash around, and that's easily dividable between and among the children.
Oh, okay. I see. So, and all of this has to really get put in the print of the last will and testament, correct?
Yeah, or more often we use a living trust for this kind of arrangement, yeah.
Oh, a living trust. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Richard, how do people get in contact with you if they want to sit down and make an appointment and find out where they're exactly at with their last will and testament?
Sure. Probably the easiest way is just to put a call to our office in Goshen. My number is 845-291-0011. They can also send me an email at rshapiro@mid-hudsonlaw.com. I do encourage people to check out our website at www.mid-hudsonlaw.com. There's a lot of interesting information. Under the Wealth Preservation tab on our website, there are videos of workshops we've done that you can watch. So there's a lot of free information there, too.
I was just going to mention the workshop that you have, which I think is just absolutely terrific. When is your next workshop? Do you have anything planned?
Yes, I have a workshop. Actually, I'm doing one at the Goshen Public Library. I believe, let me just go to my calendar here. I think it's either February 1st or 2nd. But I have to find my calendar. So, see. That up. Yeah. You know how it is. All
yeah.
Right, so, February 1st, actually. I'm doing a workshop February 1st at 5 p.m. at the Goshen Library. People might want to, and that one is going to be targeted specifically for Medicaid issues, Medicaid planning, how to preserve your assets in the eventual need, potentially, of needing long-term care. That will probably be a 90-minute workshop, probably like 5 to 6:30. It's free of charge to the public, and that is at the Goshen Library. People can register by contacting us at the 845-291-0011 number and letting us know you want to attend.
So they must register, correct?
I believe that it would be helpful.
Yeah,
I assume walk-ins will probably not be turned away unless we're full, but I doubt that will happen.
All right.
It's a big room.
Can you hang on for a couple of minutes here?
I certainly can.
All right, hang on just a little bit. We're going to be right back with more of Richard Shapiro, attorney, and the elder law. All right, so stick around. A lot more on the way.
Hi, this is Dan Goodwin of the Medicare Resource Group, located right here in the Hudson Valley. Our team of licensed agents work with all beneficiaries who are on Medicare, and we assist those who are looking to sign up for the first time. The process of signing up or trying to pick a plan can be very confusing. Here at Medicare Resource Group, my team and I are established professionals that can help make the entire process easier for you. If you have an existing Medicare plan already, The annual election period is a time to review and go over any changes that may be upcoming for 2024. Together, we can set up time to go over your plan and specific needs to ensure that you get the right policy for you. Medicare Resource Group serves the entire Hudson Valley, including Dutchess, Orange, and Ulster counties. Call me, Dan Goodwin, at 845-462-3963. That's 845-462-3963. Or visit MedicareResourceGRP.com and let us make managing your Medicare easier for you.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Jaren.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my Cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Start learning a new language today. Go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Coming down your chimney with the greatest music of all time. Giving you the gift of music this holiday season.
Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Merry Christmas from Oldies 98.9, 1220, 105.3 WGNY FM.
It's around the corner now. Don't you love it? All right. At home where I wanna be. Wrap fresh my Christmas tree. With my baby, it's just my baby and me. Got the little one stuck in bed. Seeing Santa run through their head. So happy, it's so much fun to believe. Julian wants a rocking horse. My daughter Jessie wants a dolly toss. Little Joy wants a BB gun. Mama has sing just too young. Just too young. Everybody loves Christmas. Everybody has fun. That time of the year, that holiday cheer. A good time for everyone. Everybody loves Christmas. I'm counting the ways. You know it's almost here. Well, Christmas Day. Christmas Day. Checking on my list, I'm almost done. Had to buy a gift for everyone. It don't matter, it's just that time of the year. All right. I spend the money and I don't look back. Maybe wake up in a Cadillac. But they told me, said, don't worry, I'm here. Everybody in the neighborhood got the houses
Oldies 98.9, sounds of the season, the one and only late, great Eddie Money. And, of course, Ronnie Spector. Everybody loves Christmas. Oh, yeah. And I want to thank Richard Shapiro for hanging out, and definitely hanging on with us. Richard, thank you so much for your time.
Hey, pleasure to be here. We used to listen to Eddie Money a lot in college, during my day.
Oh, of course. I loved him. I mean, Baby Hold On and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Even had a couple of albums come out in the 90s, too.
He did.
Which were great, yeah. So anyway, here we are, and we're discussing a lot of different things in regards to last will, testament, trusts, owning a business, what you could do, what maybe you don't want to do. So where do you want to go from here now?
Well, I think discussing what to do with your wills when you have a will, and how to have them retained, because that becomes a big issue.
Yeah. Now, what happens if somebody passes away and a will is lost, and people are insisting that they know the deceased made a newer one than the copy they have?
Right. That happens quite often. I probably get a call a couple times a month with exactly that scenario. The problem is under New York law for sure, and I don't know other states, but it's probably a fairly similar scenario. If you cannot produce the original will to the court, it is presumed that the original has been destroyed by the creator of the will, testator or testatrix is what we refer to them, and therefore cannot be admitted. And in that scenario, a copy cannot even be submitted. Many people have a copy, say, I have a photocopy of it. What I have to tell them is that, unfortunately, unless it can be proven that the original will was either lost or destroyed inadvertently by someone other than the testator, the court will not admit even a copy of the will.
Oh, boy.
Even if everyone's on board saying, we all know, we the family know this is the original, the same as the original will. That is not adequate under New York law to admit it, and therefore it's as if the person didn't have a will, or it will revert to their prior will. I have an exact scenario. Just yesterday, I got a call from a woman calling on behalf of a family member saying, they know that their mother did the original, a new will, newer than the one that was being presented to the surrogate court. The original will, the first will, I'll call it, said it went 50-50 between two brothers, the two surviving sons. What this woman said is that the newer will supposedly left 100% to only one of the brothers, which would, of course, supersede the original, the first one.
Yeah.
And without having, and she said, well, the attorney who did it is either deceased or retired. I think she said deceased. And we don't, we've looked at through Mom's house, and we can't find it. And of course, when the original will goes home with the client and they keep it wherever they keep it, they often don't tell the family members where it is, or even worse, they tell, the other brother, the son who's being disinherited, my will is in my top drawer in my bedroom. And of course, when that son, if he gets to it first and sees that he no longer is receiving any of the estate, that will is conveniently often going to go missing. And who can prove otherwise?
Oh.
So what's the solution to that? The solution is generally easy. In our practice, we, offer and frankly almost insist, say, let us keep the original will. We have a fireproof safe in our office. We keep all of them there. And we scan every will anyway, but we keep the originals. And we don't own them. If the client calls the next day and wants the will, it's theirs. They can take it, but they know it's probably better off and there. And so when they pass away, we have an inventory of all these, the children calls us, and even if they want the estate administered by a different law firm, which is perfectly fine, we'll say, okay, we have it. Just come here, sign a receipt. You take the original will, then it's yours, and you do with it as you wish. But at least it doesn't have that scenario where the disgruntled, disinherited beneficiary can do away with the will and cause that kind of havoc. And frankly, let's say, God forbid, our office had a massive disaster, a flood, and all the wills got destroyed. As long as we have them electronically, that case, you can't submit a copy of the will because we would sign an affidavit. I would sign an affidavit explaining what happened and saying it wasn't destroyed by the client. It was through an act of God or whatever happened. And here we have a signed photo, a copy. The court will accept it in that case, so you don't have the same risk as I alluded to earlier.
Right. But I mean, you know, when you think about it, the original attorney, he's not around anymore, and you know that there's a newer will than the original one you may have. I mean, that sounds like a real mess. A real mess.
It is, because there are certain requirements. When an attorney retires under New York ethical rules, they're supposed to ensure ongoing custody of those kind of documents. A solo practitioner, which there are many, of course, in our region and everywhere, has to have an arrangement somehow, either through the state or the county or state bar association, or through, usually they have to have some kind of arrangement with another attorney or law firm to say, if I retire or die, my wills are going to go to X, you know, the Jones law firm, wherever. And that's the way, the protocol that's supposed to happen. But, of course, all too often it isn't done in that manner. What I would suggest to people, if they find themselves in that situation and, you know, they can't find where their now deceased or retired attorney has gone, you contact your local county bar association. They often will have that information of where, you know, Attorney Jones's will have been transferred after his retirement or death. That's what I told this person on the phone yesterday when I spoke to her.
Very, very interesting scenario. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, there's a lot of things that people really have to be aware of and make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Because there's one thing that I've witnessed myself with families is especially when my grandmother passed away. That was my mother's mother. My mother's two sons and her had big arguments in her apartment with, you know, like leather top tables and other little things like that go bump in the night. And who was getting what and all of this stuff. It was just terrible. And how things like this that are not written down tight can really cause havoc with family members. It is just terrible. And I've witnessed that. And also another thing too. Do you this is kind of a personal question. You don't have to answer this. Be afraid now, Richard. Have you ever seen some screwy Louie stuff going on by a member of the family of the deceased? Meaning things that aren't really up to par the way they should be?
In what regard? Maybe you can further elaborate.
Okay. How about a mother who is going to pass away, and she's taken to an attorney's office?
Oh, yeah.
And she really doesn't know up from up, down from down, sideways to sideways, and they change the original will around. Now, is that a legal thing to do when she can't really, you know, make decisions like that? Doesn't there have to be proof by a psychiatrist or something that she's capable of being able to make those decisions?
Yeah, no, those are very thorny issues that arise very often because, unfortunately, as we know, with our aging population, we have many people dealing with diminished capacity, and that's a very tricky issue. Yeah. And it's really up to the attorney who is meeting with that person to do an evaluation, and if necessary, to get some kind of third party psychological or psychiatric determination on the person's capacity if there is a question. And I deal all the time with people who have various levels of capacity. Anyone who does the work I do is going to be in that situation.
Right. Yeah, sure.
So a lot will depend on the context of where we're dealing with. If they're coming in, even if they're brought by, so they have 3 kids and they're brought by one of them, and they're leaving everything equally among the 3 children, usually not a big concern, that no one is worried about that. Where your radar really has to be elevated is in the cases you're describing, I think, where one kid brings the mom to the child's own attorney and sits in the room with mom, and mom keeps looking at over at this child for guidance, and says, "Mom, don't you want to just change your will to leave everything to me?"
Mm-hmm.
And the mom just nods, yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If that scenario arises to me, there's going to be a few things. First of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm talking solely to the mother in the room alone. I'm going to get a lot more context. I'm going to make sure that child is not sitting in my office. And, say, go get a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts down the street kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I really have concerns about her understanding or, recognition of what's going on, I'm going to politely decline or say, I'm going to need to get a physician's assessment of your mental, of you or something. And, so it's very much a case-by-case basis, but you do, as the attorney, have to be cognizant of and proactive in addressing these diminished capacity cases and act accordingly.
Wow. All right. Hey, I got to take a quick break here for the latest local news and the ABC Spotlight Entertainment Report. Can you hang in with us a little bit more?
Yes, surely.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Richard. I'll have more of Richard Shapiro coming up right after this.